Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham, and welcome to this Stage 4 betting preview of the Tour de France. We'll also, of course, recap Stage 3 and have a look at all the latest markets. I've got a couple of long-term bets I want to get involved with as well. This preview, of course, brought to you by goodforthegame.co.za. You can log on there for our cycling previews, including, of course, each stage of the Tour de France. Well, there was plenty of drama on Stage 3, much more than we would have been expecting, although having a look at that route, you can understand what happened. We got a little bit of rain early, and there was a dramatic final 10 kilometers. We had Primoz Roglic crashing. It looked like he was almost pushed off his bike. In fact, his director sportif, I think, said he was pushed off the bike. I'm not so sure about that. He definitely had a coming together with Colbrelli, but Colbrelli certainly didn't look like he was at any fault there. But anyway, he crashed. There were other crashes. Pogacar went down as well, but he managed to salvage things and pull a bit of time on Roglic. And, of course, the dramatic crash right at the end. Yes, of course, it was my stage pick. Caleb Ewan moving up. He certainly looked like he had a good chance of victory. Probably at worst would have finished second and got us our money back. But he went flying off his bike, took out Peter Sagan as well. Lots of debate about who might have been at fault there. Personally, I just think Ewan lost control there. And he's unfortunately out of the Tour de France. I was considering a big bet on him for the green jersey. So thank goodness I held back on that. And this is a great example today of why I bet on cycling predominantly for fun. I don't get too involved because you just never know what's going to happen in terms of crashes. Geraint Thomas, by the way, also went down early in the stage. But anyway, it was left to Alpecin Fenix. Tim Merlier, what a great victory for him. He was led out perfectly by his teammate who was also sprinting for the stage, Jasper Philipsen, and the side of the yellow jersey, Mathieu van der Poel, doing the lead out for them earlier on, entering the last kilometer was quite something. At one stage, in fact, Van der Poel pulled a bit of a gap, and I wondered if he wasn't going to actually keep on riding and see if he could hold the win. But a great win there for Merlier with Philipsen in second. Bahani, nice ride as well from him to finish third. It's one of his better sprints for some time. Ballerini, he ended up sprinting when it became clear that Cavendish wasn't going to recover, having been caught behind in a crash. And Sonny Colbrelli, he's there or thereabouts. He was my initial green jersey pick at 7-1. He's now 9-1. But, with Ewan out the race, and that Colbrelli is still the sort of rider. He can hang around there, pick up points here or there. And if he can get a stage win at some stage, he'll suddenly find himself right in the green jersey action. Anyway, it was a very exciting stage. The big winner in terms of the overall rankings, and let's go to that quickly and see what's happening there. The big winner there, we've obviously still got Van der Poel ahead of Alaphilippe, but Richard Carapaz from Ineos. Ineos haven't had a great tour to date, but Carapaz up to third now, so it means of the GC men, he's actually leading, and you'll see he's shortened in the betting. And Pogacar lost a bit of time, but he's still only 39 seconds down, and we've got to scroll down quite far. Let's just have a look. I think about 20th spot to Primoz Roglic. Here we go. But still under a minute behind Pogacar. So certainly not out of it. I think the concern with Roglic is really what that crash might have done to him, because, it was a heavy crash. He certainly looked like he was going to be in a little bit of pain there. And so I guess that is the worry in terms of Primoz Roglic. Just a reminder, you can subscribe to our Tour de France newsletter below. We've also got a link to the Good for the Game forum thread. And finally, let us know who you think is going to win the stage. And by the way, I also got a little WhatsApp group we do a bit of betting on as well. There's a way to get involved with that down below as well. Right, let's move on then. Have a look at the green jersey rankings overall quickly. Let's just have a look what's happening there. I actually haven't looked at this yet. We still got Alaphilippe. He's there on 80. Van der Poel on 62 points. Tim Merlier is now up to 50. Now, Merlier has said he's not going for the green jersey, but you wonder if he's going to reconsider, because there's a lot of sprint stages to come, and he's certainly the type of guy who could win a few stages. Be interesting to see tomorrow if he starts showing himself up to perhaps pick up a few points in the intermediate sprint. You got Matthews, you got Pogacar, Philipsen, Roglic. Hey, I'm looking for my man Colbrelli. He's not even in the top 10 there yet, but hopefully he can gain some points over the coming days. Right, let's go on to the updated betting. I'm going to pop onto Sunbet here, and we've got Tadej Pogacar now shortened into a 6-10 a favourite to win the Tour de France. Primoz Roglic, you can get 9-2, Carapaz 6-1, and 12-1 Julian Alaphilippe. At this point, I just want to highlight one bet. I actually took it before the start of this stage. I got 50-1, but it's still 40-1. Certainly not a confident pick. But I look at a guy like Buchmann, the Bora rider. He obviously lost time due to a crash. Was it on stage 2 there, or no, sorry, stage 1, I think, when Alaphilippe won. And he's not that far back. He's something like 2 minutes 33 back. And there's a lot of riders up ahead of him who are obviously not going to be GC contenders. And then at the same time, it just seems like there's been so many accidents and maybe a lot of guys with injuries, and a good couple of rides and good rides in the mountain if he's still in good condition, and all of a sudden he could find himself back in podium contention. There is 40-1 then. I'm suggesting a half a unit play on that. Having a look at the other markets, we've got the mountain classification. Pogacar's now shortened into a 6-1 favorite there. Not a lot of change in the betting. I know Rogic out to about 16-1 now. I do like Pogacar. I'm perhaps regretting that I didn't get on him sooner, but there might be other opportunities to back him. And having a look at the points market, we've got Peter Sagan, who's really, he was taken out. He didn't score points today again in the final sprint, but he's at 5-2. Tim Merlier 13-4. At one stage, Merlier went favourite after the stage, but I think people are still perhaps thinking he may not give it a go. The fact is, if he wins enough stages, he might be able to win this thing without going for the intermediate sprints. So, he's definitely a runner. Demar, who hasn't impressed me so far, he's 4-1. Michael Matthews 5-1. I can tell you Colbrelli trading around the 10-1 mark there. Just another sort of market of interest. I had said I want to take on the Movistar team in the team classification. They're currently 19-20 favourites. You've got Ineos Grenadiers at 11-4. Ineos, they've certainly got 4 men in that team who can ride high up in classification. If they put their mind to the team comp, I think Ineos will win it. But obviously they're going to be riding for Carapaz now first and foremost, and potentially for Thomas as well. Team Jumbo-Visma have also got the team, but they're starting to look stretched now. Lost a rider, another rider a little bit injured, and Rogic himself is looking pretty bashed up. So I'm not too sure I'd be backing them with any confidence. So I was looking for a team that I found could offer me some value, and I basically decided I had to decide between Astana and Team EF Education. I had a good look at the team lineups, and I'm going to take a little bit of 20-1 on EF Education at this stage to win the team comp. I just want to get some involvement in that, a little bit of interest here. It's obviously fairly speculative, but they've got a number of guys who can climb well and also time trial well. So I'm going to be interested to see how they go in stage 5. So that's it as far as the long-term stuff goes. Let's get stuck into the actual stage itself, and we'll start with a look at the preview here of the stage. You can see it's pretty flat, a couple of little rises here and there. We've got a 150.4 kilometers, and the sprint comes at 114 k's. That's quite interesting because it's quite deep into the stage, so I expect all the guys to go for it. There'll probably still be a breakaway up the road at that point, but they'll be sprinting for points, but not giving it full gas. You don't want to be giving it full gas and then going for a sprint in just 36 kilometers time. You can see here, if you look at the profile, it's not quite as straightforward. It's not sort of pan flat. There's a couple of little ups and downs. In fact, quite a lot of them when you look at it there. And these may not be enough to shake people off, but it can certainly take the sting out of the legs, and it can make positioning fairly difficult as well. What also doesn't show on this profile is that it's quite a rising finish. Nothing too steep, nothing that's going to stop a sprinter from winning a stage, but it might mean that the guy who goes too soon doesn't make it, and it's going to favor the guys who like a harder sprint finish as opposed to a flat one. So, for example, here, it would favor more the Colbrelli. Merlier himself likes the hard sprint finish over a Bohani, who's perhaps not as good on the rising finishes. So that's the profile. We can expect a break to go at kilometer 0 as per usual, I would say. It's going to be probably pretty similar today. The break will get clear fairly quickly. There's not even King of the Mountains points to play for on this one. And obviously, we're not going to have Lotto keeping them in check because Ewan's out the race. So we're going to have the likes of Quick Step. Alpecin FedEx will, of course, be protecting the yellow jersey and also riding for Merlier. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. What's going to happen at the end of the stage? Who's going to win the sprint? Well, let's have a look at the betting on the stage. Stage 4 betting. I'll bring it up here. Right, we've got Merlier, who's been priced as the 5-2 favorite. Hard to argue with that after a very good performance today, although we've got to bear in mind that was a bit of a chaotic finish. Perhaps a little bit hard to judge how all the other guys are going. On a Demar, he's 7-2. I just don't feel he's got it this year, but a slightly rising finish should suit him. He's not as fast as some of the others, but he is a strong sprinter. Mark Cavendish, who's won on this exact finish before a few years ago, he's a 4-1, a little bit short for my liking. Cavendish, he just, he's certainly got the speed to take on Merlier, but I don't know. He does also have the team to put him in a good position, but I can't have him at 4-1. Jasper Philipsen's 9-1. You got Wout van Aert at 10-1, and here's the first of my bets that I'm going to be taking. Van Aert said he's not going to go for the sprints, but he didn't drop back to help Rogic today, which was interesting. And, it would be interesting to find out if that was team orders or not. He's got his eyes on the yellow jersey after the time trial. And this sprint finish will suit him perfectly. And if the team give him the nod, then I'd certainly like a bit of 10-1 about Van Aert, because I really do think he'll be well suited. So taking a little bit of Van Aert, I'm going to bank on the fact that Rogic perhaps a little bit banged up. They're going to let Van Aert sprint for this. Mats Pedersen, 14s. Sisbo, I considered him quite strongly as well at 16-1. This is a sort of rising finish he will enjoy. And just looking further down the list, Sonny Colbrelli, I've taken some 6-1 that he's going to run in the top 3. I think he's also going to enjoy this rising finish. He looks good. He just seems to time his sprints badly. He tends to go too early, and I'm hoping he shows a bit more patience in this one, goes a bit late, and grabs us a podium finish. And then how about this guy, Mathieu van der Poel? Obviously, he's, the logical thing would be that he's riding for Merlier, but he's got such power. If he can get away at the end, and as I've always said about van der Poel, you can never predict this man. He's not afraid to do the unthinkable, and he might just go for some bonus seconds as well. But it is unlikely, and that's why he's priced at 40-1. But I've just got the sneaky feeling, and for that reason, I've taken 1 unit on Van Aert at 10. Quarter unit only, but I've got Van der Poel at 40-1. And I guess my main bet for the stage, ultimately, the one I'll be watching the closest, is 1 unit on Colbrelli, top 3 at 6-1. I will also be placing other bets in the Good for the Game forum, and of course, the link is down there below. Well, it turned out to be a bit of a long one because of my outright bets, but look forward to seeing you at the end of stage 4. We'll wrap up stage 4 and have a look at the stage 5 betting. If you are new to the channel, you haven't seen us yet, first of all, hit us up with a like if you enjoy the previews, and then make sure you subscribe to our channel for all of our Tour de France previews, and of course the rugby and Durban July previews coming later in the week. Enjoy the stage, everyone. Let's hope all the riders get through unscathed, and let's hope we can book our first win, because after 3 stages, I'm starting to feel a little bit desperate for that first Tour de France win.